Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this, one and all. I've got a different Charlie with me today. We have got Charlie, who is a Chelsea fan. You can see that from the shirts behind him. And he is from, it's Blue Brother, your channel, Charlie.
Yeah, that's the one. Blue Brother CFC.
Yeah, mate. So you've had a busy time on your channel, I guess, in the last 2 or 3 weeks for your transfers.
Yeah, I tell you what, mate, it's been hectic. There's been so much going on. I mean, even earlier this week, we had Caicedo announced sort of Sunday night/Monday. Then it was Lavia, and then it was Elise. Then Elise was off, and then you're thinking, we haven't had a signing for a couple of days. What's going on? It has been mad. But do you know what? It's been welcome. It certainly made a change from last season's constant negativity surrounding the club because of what we did on the pitch, which was a disaster. But yeah, it's been a busy time, but I think we've deserved it from what we went through last season. Now I'm really excited to see how all these exciting, talented players do.
Well, let's just actually talk about that for a second, because I'm interested in how that would have been perceived as a Chelsea fan last season in particular. I know it doesn't have any bearing on this game, but I do think it's interesting. The club gets into turmoil. Abramovich, Todd Boehly takes over, and initially perhaps didn't look like he knew what he was doing. Then you start buying players. You bring Potter in. Now, it's worth saying, myself and Charlie have just done a video over on his channel on Blue Brother. We've done a build-up to the West Ham Chelsea game. You touched on it then, which was the Brighton game and Graham Potter and whatnot. How was that for you as a Chelsea fan, getting that manager in, and then how quickly did you realise actually he's no good?
Do you know what? It's a tricky one, because obviously under Roman, we'd been so used to just bringing in managers that were winners straight away, because the team was ready to win straight away. So it almost didn't matter that we were, turning over managers every 12 to 18 months, because the team was so good and the team was ready to win. If you put a decent manager in, we would probably still win. The Premier League wasn't as competitive back then. City weren't doing what they're doing now. So it wasn't like that. So we could kind of get away with it. Now, obviously, Roman's moved on. Todd Boehly and co have come in. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new ethos for the club. And it's kind of a new Chelsea in a sense of what we're trying to do. We're trying to build something for the long term. Yes, we're still spending a lot of money. That's not gone away. The Graham Potter one was strange because it's one that we would have never had under Roman, because he always appointed the elite managers, the best that he could get. Admittedly, he did appoint Frank Lampard, but that was kind of purely circumstantial, because the sort of manager we normally go for wasn't really keen on taking it with the transfer ban we had at the time. And obviously Eden Hazard, our best player, had gone as well. So you get the Graham Potter route and you think, right, okay, this is unusual for Chelsea. It's not normally what we do. But let's be real, Potter's stock was really high at Brighton. He was certainly like the next one off the rank alongside Eddie Howe in terms of British manager and, up-and-coming managers being spoken about in a very positive light in the Premier League. I'll be honest, I think we set him up to fail straight away. The club was an absolute mess. We were in complete turmoil. The owners had come in and, they'd cleared out everything. The sporting, hierarchy wasn't in place at the time. Todd Boehly was acting as sporting director himself. I think we made a lot of mistakes that summer. The squad was massive. The pre-season had been a disaster. Potter, let's be real, and I think he probably admitted himself, he was massively out of his depth. He was Premier League experience, but he'd never managed in the Champions League. He'd never had the pressure of a club like Chelsea and whatnot. And I think all those things just added up. And for whatever reason, just couldn't get anything out of him on the pitch. So I don't criticize the appointment necessarily, because I can see the thinking behind it with the project they want to go down, get a young, exciting coach who would stick about for a few years. But yeah, the reality was very, very different.
And how are you feeling now about Pochettino? Was this the guy you wanted? And is there that infrastructure behind him now that wasn't there when Potter was appointed?
Yeah, the infrastructure is absolutely there now. I mean, I won't bore you with the ins and outs of it, but we've got Joe Shields, a sort of a director of recruitment. We've obviously got Paul Winstanley in there, who we took from Brighton. We've got Lawrence Stewart, who came from Monaco. We've got the multi-club model in place now. We've got our first one in Strasbourg, so partnerships are being formed there. There is that sort of hierarchy is now there, and I think you're seeing this summer with the recruitment we're doing. The players are being brought in. We're going down a sort of a data-driven side of recruitment, and there's been some really exciting purchases. In terms of Pochettino, I'll be perfectly honest. When the sort of the managerial process was taking place, he wasn't on my list in terms of being my number one choice to take over. I probably had him in about third place potentially.
Who was your number one, Charlie?
I mean, I was up there with Nagelsmann, maybe Luis Enrique as well potentially. But Poch definitely wasn't my first choice. But as the candidates whittled down, as it looked like it was going to be him more, I warmed to it a lot more. And you actually look at where Chelsea are at right now and what they're trying to do. And you look at Pochettino, a manager who's got a proven record of developing young players, a proven record in the Premier League, plays an exciting brand of football. It kind of ticks all the boxes for what Chelsea are looking to do right now. And he certainly changed the mood. He certainly made it a happy camp again. And he's brought that feel-good positive factor back around the club heading into this new season that was not there at all last season. Last season was bad. It was dark. It was, terrible atmosphere at games, just feeling thoroughly depressed when you're traveling all over the country, knowing you're going to lose before you even got there. So the feel-good factor's back, and there's an excitement and a bit of a buzz around the place again.
You've got YouTube channels. You've got direct access, daily access to how Chelsea fans are feeling, what they're saying, what they're writing. Are they hopeful for this season? What do you feel from reading those comments? Are the expectations for Chelsea this season, just from the fans rather than yourself?
Fans are excited for sure, absolutely. It might sound silly, but there's still a couple of positions that need filling in the squad. I know we spent a lot of money. It sounds mad to say we need more, but we do need more. We still need someone to come in and not replacing Nkunku necessarily, but we needed a backup for Nkunku anyway before he got injured. Now we certainly need someone. So we need a kind of a right winger / number 10 sort of hybrid type of player. We need a backup goalkeeper because Kepa's gone on loan to Real Madrid for the season. So we need to bring in another goalkeeper. We need one of those right winger 10 hybrid players. If we can go and get another centre forward, that would be preferable. And the club would like to do that if the right profile is there and a deal can be done at the right price. But fans feel positive, fans feel excited, and the minimum expectation is for us to get back in the Champions League, and we want some sort of domestic silverware. And I don't care if people aren't fussed if it's the League Cup or the FA Cup. Chelsea needs to be winning domestic trophies again because we've won nothing domestically since 2017, the FA Cup final against United.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a draw against Liverpool. In terms of that was really, obviously you were a pre-season friendlies, your first look at Pochettino, look at his team. A couple of things that really impressed you maybe about the team and about that performance, some things you saw maybe differently from some players or whatnot?
In terms of, certainly start with pre-season, like the difference in fitness levels is unbelievable. We know that Pochettino works teams hard. You have to see the running stats when he took over at Southampton. They went from bottom to top. Same with Spurs. I would imagine a similar thing with Chelsea. But last season, one of the only things that Lampard did get right was highlighting that this team wasn't fit. We were sort of out of games after 30 minutes. That's been a big change. A huge difference as well is the fact that we've got a core group of players now that all want to be at the club. We've got rid of the players that didn't want to be here, that were perhaps causing issues in the dressing room potentially. Everyone that didn't want to be at the club is now out the door. So you've got a group of players that all want to be here. I don't think that can be underestimated either. In terms of the football, it's looked positive to start with. Look, we're dealing with a very small sample size here, but the initial signs are positive. We're playing quick, one-touch football. We're moving the ball quickly. The players look sharp. The youngsters look confident. We played very well against Liverpool. First 25 minutes was a bit of a struggle. From 25 minutes onwards, we did dominate that game. And that really boded well. But look, there's going to be some fine-tuning. There's going to be a few things that need tweaking here and there. But absolutely, there is optimism and confidence heading into the season.
We had a little chat in your channel just about 10 minutes ago. You were talking about you think that you'll switch formation for this game, and you still think, despite your signings, that you think Conor Gallagher, who's obviously been linked to West Ham, will feature in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll switch back to the 4-3-3. Predominantly, we probably would go the 4-2-3-1, but with Nkunku's injury and a lack of an out-and-out natural number 10 in the squad, I think we'll go with a 4-3-3. Lavia, who we signed, who I'm really excited about, probably only had one training session tops before this game, so we're unlikely to see him certainly from the start. So I'd imagine it'll be Moises Caicedo making his debut, probably sitting at the bottom of that midfield, and then Enzo Fernandez and Conor Gallagher, who had a superb game against Liverpool and had a very good pre-season, in fairness as well. Seems rejuvenated under Pochettino. I'm not sure if it's because he's changed his hair to a man bun. Maybe that's given him some new powers or something. But we're seeing a level from Gallagher that we haven't really seen in a Chelsea shirt before. So if he can continue that, then there's every chance he potentially stays. But yeah, I'd expect the midfield three to be made up of Caicedo, Enzo, and Gallagher, and I would expect a 4-3-3 system tomorrow. But you just never know what Pochettino's thinking.
Well, I'm sure you don't, particularly so early in his tenure. What, just in case Gallagher does sign for West Ham, whilst I've got you on here, it would be wrong of me not to pick your brain on it. What sort of a player is he?
I think he's a good player, you know. Like, he gets a bit of stick from Chelsea fans because, you know, people just say, oh, he just runs around and stuff. I think there's a bit of a discredit to him. Look, he has struggled at certain times last season, but he's proven that he can be a goal-scoring midfield player. That loan spell at Crystal Palace, he played more as a number 10. At Chelsea, he's played more as an 8. You haven't really seen him in the 10, but he's played as like an all-action midfield player, kind of a box-to-box almost, someone that can get forward, but someone that also gets back and does that defensive side of the game. He works hard. He's a workhorse. He's good off the ball. He's good on the ball. Look, he's a decent player. Is he good enough to make it on a full-time basis as a regular at Chelsea? I'm not sure. He can be a very good squad player, but certainly if West Ham were to get him, it depended where you played him. If you played him as a number 8 or you tried to push him a bit further forward as a 10, I think there's a very, very good football player in there and someone that could go on and definitely have a very good career at West Ham. But there's a lot to like about Conor Gallagher for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the running around and scoring goals is quite enough for most midfielders,
Yeah.
actually. So, Charlie, what are your thoughts before we go? What are your thoughts on West Ham? And then we'll get your thoughts on the game itself, mate. What's your take on things? We'll exclude Lucas Paqueta because we did discuss it in depth on your channel. But yeah, just without that stuff, what do you think?
Do you know what? I like West Ham in terms of, I think last season was fantastic for them to win the Conference League. Great for the club, you know. Declan Rice, a perfect way to sign out. Obviously, he's moved on, so it's a new era for West Ham post Rice. You've bought some players in Edson Alvarez, Ward Prowse, etc. Look, could be good for your midfield. Let's see how they fit in. I do like West Ham. I think, you know, they could probably do with the quality of player that they've got at the club. There are some decent players there. Paqueta, Jared Bowen, for example. I think, you know, West Ham could potentially play a bit more of an expansive brand of football, but that's not really how David Moyes sets his teams up. I just think West Ham are a solid outfit, you know, a team that has had some very good European campaigns over the last couple of years, another European campaign coming up this season. I think there's a lot to like, but again, with Moyes, you're not really going to get that more attractive, expansive style of football. So it's going to be hard for some of those more expansive players like your Paquetas, like your Jared Bowens to really, really thrive under a David Moyes system, in my opinion.
I'll tell you now, as someone that's just very close to being 50, so here's an opposition fan say, call West Ham a solid outfit. It still sounds quite bizarre. Yeah, not just throughout, well, certainly my history as supporting the club, we've been anything far from that. So it's interesting to see us perceived in such a way. Is there anything, because we've already done our preview for this game, so it's really about getting your opinion, and you know this already. I think we might struggle in this game. Is there anything that you fear from West Ham?
Threat from set pieces. I think that's got to be one. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse in the ranks now. Any free kicks we give away needlessly around the box is a real problem. It's almost like giving a penalty away when he's there. He's that good at them. Again, threats in the air from the back, you know, corners or whatever, free kicks. Agard, Zuma, very good players in the air.
Yeah.
Potential maybe to hit us on the break if we commit too many men forward. Bowen, Benrahma can cause issues. I don't look at West Ham and think, Jesus, I'm really concerned that they could cause us a lot of damage. But there are a particular set of strengths that West Ham have. And if we're not switched on at set plays, then you could really punish us. I think, to be fair, that's probably your best chance of getting any goals or anything out of the game is taking full advantage of any set pieces you get.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I do concur. You're going to the game tomorrow. What are your expectations in terms of scoreline, Charlie?
I mean, I expect Chelsea to win just because I feel we have to. We've got a kind set of fixtures, certainly the first few. So we need to get as many points on the board as possible. Obviously, Liverpool draw, you take that most seasons, a positive performance. But then with West Ham on Sunday, we've then got Luton and Forest back-to-back at home and then Bournemouth away after the international break. For a first 5 games, it's quite kind. So we need to get as many points on the board as possible there. So I'm expecting a win tomorrow, but I'm also fully aware that our record at the London Stadium is not the best. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect it to be. The impetus is going to be on us to break down your low block. We've struggled with that over the years, so it is going to be tough. But I do expect a Chelsea win. I'm going to go with a 2-1, but it's going to be a tough afternoon for us.
Yeah, well, I hope it is a tough afternoon for you, quite frankly. There's no doubt about that. Just before, it might sound a strange way to end the video, but again, it would be remiss of me not to ask a Chelsea fan whilst you're on the channel. We've been linked with Ian Martson. I don't need you to describe him as a player. Obviously, he was at loan at Burnley last season. Do West Ham stand any chance of getting him, or is he a big part of Poch's plans?
I don't think anything's off the table with Martson. I really don't, because obviously the left-back slot is kind of stocked up at Chelsea with Chilwell and Cucurella. Cucurella being very difficult to shift despite after a poor season. And I think after one season, you still got to give him another season to try and show his worth. If he gets poor again, maybe get rid of him. Again, Martson has featured in pre-season further up the pitch as part of the three behind Nicholas Jackson. But the problem we've got there is that he's obviously behind Mudryk, he's behind Sterling, Madueke, etc. If another attacker comes in, and they will, that leaves Martson in a tricky position. So I think West Ham, if Martson leaves, you have got a half decent chance of getting him. And I think he's a very, very good footballer that can certainly fill in well, whether it's left back, whether it's left wing back, or whether it's part of an attacking three. He's very versatile, and there's a lot of potential there. So if West Ham were to get their hands on him, I think that would be a very good signing.
Charlie, magnificent, mate. Thank you very much indeed for your help. Where can we find your channel, please, mate?
So channel is Blue Brother CFC, nearly at 6K, about 100 away now. So yeah, if anyone wants to subscribe and hear me talk about Chelsea match vlogs, previews, collabs, all sorts going on, then please do check that out. And you'll also catch me on Chelsea Fan TV as well.
Well, myself and Charlie have done nearly an hour, actually, just on West Ham and Chelsea. So if you want to hear more of what you've just heard in depth, go over there, check out Charlie's channel, stick a thumbs up on it while you're there, please, because it really will help. He's done such a magnificent job over the last 2 years of building his channel up. He really has. Charlie's going to come back and join me. That's good for a post-mortem.
Well, it could be.
Maybe Tuesday or something like that. Charlie, I really appreciate your help, mate. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully you don't enjoy a couple of hours or 90 minutes at the London Stadium. Thank you very much. That's Charlie from Blue Brother. And thank you very much, my friend.
No, thank you.